Hello weirdos, welcome back to my channel. My name is EmmaAbe and we have a visitor. Yeah, we got the baby. She's so cute and naked. Yeah, you look so naked. What's up with that, baby? Oh, did Dad take you to go to get like a cut in the shower? How rude of him. Now there's a lot less of you to love. That's okay. That's okay. Put you back in your nest. Okay, so what are we doing today? Well, yeah, so we're doing a book haul. I, again, have about 20 books, trying to catch up. This is stuff that I've gotten over the summer because I've lost zero self-control because I am so freaking bored. Because I don't really have much to do and I'm waiting until I can move August 12th to finally have a little bit more things to do and for work to start. Although my work doesn't start on August 12th anyway. So let's just get to talking about these books. So the first book that I got is Last Night at the Telegraph Club. I think this is set in like California, and it is a sapphic love story between, I think, an Asian American and a white person, but I'm not sure. I was like, that was really all I needed. I needed some sapphic romance, and this is it. Other than that, I don't really know much about this book. You'll tend to see that as a theme in these videos because I just want queer stories. Also, most of these do have audiobooks. I will let you know if they don't, but for the most part, I think all of them have them. So let's keep moving. So the next book I got is Disability Visibility, the first-person stories from the 21st century. This is edited by Alice Wong, and this is exactly what it says on the tin. These are just stories that people have told about experiencing disability now, and I think it'd be cool and interesting to have a new edition that kind of had a little bit of the pandemic in mind, because a lot of times disability isn't really talked about, but plus I've heard good things about this one on the internet. So I know in the last video of this I talked a little bit about N.K. Jemisin. Well, I got this one. Again, I want to read more about N.K. Jemisin, so I picked up The Killing Moon, which is another book in a series that N.K. Jemisin writes, and I don't really know that much about it. So this is basically about a bunch of people who like harvest magic called the Gatherers. The Gatherers who gather like this magic and keep magic in like the city. But there's some conspiracy, and the Gatherers have to figure out who is involved in the conspiracy in order to save their city or watch it fall to evil magic. So that one sounds interesting. I can't remember if this or a different one that I picked up is one of the ones that people like don't like. But I'm here for N.K. Jemisin, and I just really want to read some of her stuff. The next book that I got is Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And I don't really know much about this one. I think this is a memoir. It has Toni Morrison's blurbs on it. And so that's a good sign, but I don't really know much about this other than it is required reading for some of my students for one of their classes. And that's largely why I picked this one up. So looking at the inside cover, it seems that it's talking about race, which isn't really a surprise in my opinion. And it seeks to answer the question of what it is like to inhabit a black body and find a way to live within it. And how can we honestly reckon with this fraught history and free ourselves from this burden? I'm really just impressed by the choices of books that my kids have to read. Anyway, let's keep going. The next book I got is The System, Who Rigged It? How We Fix It. This is by Robert B. Reich, and this again is a book that was given to my students to read, so I picked it up. I actually picked up this copy from a bookstore in Connecticut called Roebling Books. Not Connecticut. In Kentucky called Roebling Books. Super cute. Has this coffee that I love. that I don't know if I'll ever get to taste again unless I go back to Kentucky, which I'm really trying to avoid. But yeah, this looked interesting because I think it's going to talk a lot about the economic forces of injustice and how the system is set up against a lot of different people, including people of color. Keeping it fairly light on the book choices, my school is. That's a lie, it's not. The next book I actually got off of Amazon, which I know, but I wanted to read it. And that is To Paradise by Hanya Yagnihara. I'm sorry. You'd think I know how to pronounce this author's name, but I don't. But I thought this was really interesting because it is queer, and I think it talks about being gay in 3 different time periods in American history. The first one, I think, being in the 1860s. Oh, LOL, 1893. The next one being during the AIDS crisis, and then another one in the future. And I was like, oh, a gay book? Oh no! I guess I'll have to buy it. And I got it off of Amazon because they were having a sale that made it a lot less than the $32 that this is normally sold for, which I wasn't quite ready to shell out yet. The next book that I got is The House in the Cerulean Sea. This is by T.J. Klune. Surprise, surprise, I got it because I knew it was gay and people liked it on the internet. But essentially this is about like a caseworker that deals with like orphaned magical children and like seeks to make sure that they are taken care of. Obviously, kind of like the foster care system that we have in the United States, it doesn't work super well. So he's sent on this super important mission to go look at this one orphanage who has some really dangerous children there, and to just kind of check up on it and stay there for a month just to or 6 weeks or something like that, and to see what's up. And basically it is very gay and it made me very happy, and this is probably one of the best books that I've read so far this year. Yeah. Okay, continuing on to the next book that I got, which is One Last Stop. This is by Casey McQuiston. I know a little bit about this. I picked this up because I am going to read it for my Goodreads project. How we doing on that? I think we got about 10-ish books left, so I gotta kind of pick up my pace a little bit. But I know this deals with time travel a little bit and time wonkiness, which I'm always a little bit iffy about, but I think it will be fine. And it's sapphic. I am a very simple person with very simple needs, and some of those needs are gay stories. So continuing with the theme of just queerness, we have the next book that I picked up, which is The Second Rebel. This is by Lyndon A. Lewis. This has non-binary representation, gayness, lots of things, great. But this is the second book in, what are they calling it? Okay, the First Sister trilogy. So if you haven't read The First Sister, which is the first book in the series, then I can't really tell you much about this one, but I have finished this one as well, and it kind of picks up where it went, leaves off, where you're following these revolutionaries trying to take down their respective governments, and there's 2 governments that they're trying to take down, and get justice for these humanoid people who are routinely experimented on and tortured, called, I think, asters, something like that. I'm not gonna look it up. And there were 2 drops at the end of this book, info dumps, that I was just like, fuck, you're just gonna leave it like this, and I have to wait a long time to get the last book in this series, and I am a little bit upsetty spaghetti, but it's a good book. I think it's a good continuation. It was lagging a little bit in the middle, but then I stuck with it, and I really liked it, so I picked up that one. Another book that I picked up is World of Wonders in Praise of Fireflies, Whale Sharks, and Other Astonishments by Anemi Netskulamatil. I'm trying, but decoding is not one of my strong suits. But this is a nature science book. This was in the running for the BookTube prize. I didn't really have much interest in reading it, but then guess what? It was picked up, as one of the books that some of my kiddos have to read. There we go. That is why I picked up this one. Another book that I picked up is How to Be Drawn by Terrence Hayes. And this is a book of poetry that I picked up because my students had to read it. Poetry is not my thing, so we'll see. But I've read a few of the poems, and I think they're best read out loud. And there's no audiobook that accompanies this. So I'm struggling just a bit with this one. But this is another one that I picked up. The next book that I got is Lavinia by Ursula K. Le Guin. And this is a twisted story from the Aeneid. We have the king's daughter, Lavinia. And the thing about the king's daughter is that she doesn't speak. So this, I think, is going to be an interesting book from Ursula K. Le Guin, because I haven't fully finished one of her books yet, but I want to. So that's why I picked up this one, and I love a good, like, twisted tale of something. And so, yeah, I am pretty jazzed to get this one. The next book that I got is a nonfiction book, and that is When America Met China. This is by Eric J. Dolan, and this kind of what it is on the cover. Anyway, this just tells the story of exactly what's on the tin about America's first interaction with China and trade practices and how that goes down. I swear to God I have another book by Eric J. Dolan, but I'm not 100% sure about that. This is another book that my kids have to read. I think if they're in like Asian history class. So they have to read this, which I think is pretty cool, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I wish I could tell you, like, what books are for what classes, because I do not remember, and I think it'd be interesting to know, but I have that written down somewhere, and I don't want to stop recording to tell you. But that is When America Met China. The next book that I got is Wicked Fox. This is by Kat Cho. I was reading the back cover of it when I was deciding to buy it, and this has going to have a lot of like Korean drama like influences, in terms of like it is about a nine-tailed fox, and so she's nine-tailed. It's about this nine-tailed fox who saves this human, and stuff starts going down it's like weird, that forces them to go like on an adventure. And I saw that it was like inspired by a lot of Korean dramas. And I personally don't watch a lot of Korean dramas, but I watch a lot of Chinese dramas. And I know that they come from a different acting school. And I quite enjoy them than like dramas in America. But I quite enjoy them. And I thought that this would be just a very, very fun ride in a book that I think I would like. Even though I think that it is heterosexual. It's fine. I can like things that are not gay, okay? I just tend to like a lot of things that are gay. Hey, do you want to pop up and say hi? Do you want to pop up and say hi? Do you want to pop up and say hi? Huh? They're missing you. They think you're cute. That's because I think you're cute. Alright, continuing on to the next book that I picked up, which is The Lone Ranger and Tonto Have a Fist Fight in Heaven. This is written by a Native American author, and I don't really know anything about it other than my kids are required to read it, or some of them are. Okay, so this is, the back doesn't tell us much, but it's short stories, and they're all just sort of set around the Spokane Reservation, and yeah, we got some of the authors, I guess, most famous books, and this is by Sherman Alexie. Continuing on to the next book that I got, which is Crown of Feathers. This is by Nikki Pau Predo. And I honestly decided to get this because I was reading the back and it said, I had a sister once. In a world ruled by fierce warrior queens, a grand empire was built upon the backs of phoenix riders. And I stopped reading because I was like, Phoenix riders? That sounds even cooler than dragon riders. I will fight people on this. Phoenix can be reborn, so fuck you if you want to fight me on this. But yeah, so I decided to get this. I have been very impulsive, and that's okay. It's my money that I can use with as I want. The next book is Phoenix Extravagant by Yoon-Ha Lee. And I picked this up because I know there's non-binary representation in it, and it looks fantasy. Hence the giant, like, dragon. I have no idea what it's about. So, there you go. The next books I'm going to talk about together, and that is Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood, and The Year of the Flood, also by Margaret Atwood. These are books 1 and 2 in the Mad Adam trilogy. I do have the first one, but for reasons why I will keep to myself. I will not show you that third one. My students have to read this one and The Year of the Flood, which is the second book in the series. And so that's why I decided to pick it up. It's a dystopian novel, or it's a dystopian book series. And so I was like, well, I can't just start a third of the way into the trilogy. I have to go back and read the first one. First one is a lot harder to read because there's a lot darker themes in the first one than there is in the second one. There's a lot more exploitation of underage children in not okay ways in this one than there is in this one. But yeah, it just tells the story of a world that has basically gone to shit. And in Oryx and Crake, we have the character of the snowman who thinks he is the only human left. And he has been tasked with taking care of this group of genetically altered humanoids. And in the second book, we figure out, well, he's not really the only one left. And it talks a lot about, like, more of the religious motivations of some people. It's not entirely true, but there's this, like, weird cult that is in this, that we're following people in the cult who wind up being some of the people who survive. But yeah, that is these two. And we're at the very last one. The last book that I picked up is World According to Color. This is a cultural history. This is by James Fox. And this just talks about color in history, in different cultures. And I was like, yes. Did it catch my eye because it looks gay? Yes, but also I'm genuinely interested in the subject. And we have this 20% sticker that I'm going to take off and put it on the baby. Look at you. Look at you, baby. I like to do this. My parents hate that I put stickers on her head. But look, she's 20% off. Look. Yeah. I would buy you at full price, but you're 20% off right now. Alright, well, that is it for this video. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Leave like a percentage, like, little emoji if you want to leave a comment, but don't want to, like, say anything. And let me know, what is something that you found interesting? Doesn't have to be related to anything, just something that you found interesting. Alright, bye-bye. I will talk to you guys next week. Is that right? Yeah.